most minute. It is another beautiful overcast day at Holy Cross Cemetery, and we are here to visit the grave of Mayor George Moscone. And yes, I mean Moscone from Moscone Center in downtown San Francisco. So Moscone was mayor of the 37th mayor of San Francisco from January of 1976 to November of 1978, when he was assassinated at the same time as Supervisor Harvey Milk. He was known as the People's Mayor, and he used his appointments to reflect the diversity that San Francisco is known for. Prior to being mayor, he actually served in the California State Senate, where he was majority leader. He grew up in the city. He grew up in the Marina. He was born there on November 24th, 1929, and he went to St. Bridget's. He went to SI. His father was a guard at San Quentin. And after high school, he went on to the University of the Pacific, back when it was known as College of the Pacific, and then went to Hastings for law school. In 1960, he lost the election to join the California State Assembly. But in 1963, he won the election for the California Board of Supervisors. And it was during his time on the board that he became known for his defense of the poor, minorities, and small business owners. It was also during that time that he managed to block a bill that would have sent a freeway running through Golden Gate Park. In 1966, he was elected to the state senate, where he became close friends with Willie Brown, who was then an assemblyman and would also later become mayor of San Francisco. And together, these two men instituted a school lunch program, and they also sponsored a bill that legalized abortion. He considered running for governor in 1974, but he dropped out because he wanted to support Jerry Brown. He announced his candidacy for mayor in the end of 1976. End of 1975. And he managed to win a very tight race about a year later, where John Barbagaletta, another supervisor, was second, and Dianne Feinstein came in third. Two of his major supporters for this campaign were the Glide Memorial Church and the very controversial People's Temple, which would later turn into a cult. Once he was elected mayor, Moscone appointed Jim Jones from the People's Temple chairman of the Housing Commission. During his time as mayor, he prevented the San Francisco Giants from moving to Toronto, and he became known for his support of disability rights. In 1977, the political landscape of San Francisco changed yet again when Harvey Milk and also Dan White were elected to the Board of Supervisors. Harvey Milk supported Moscone, but Dan White not so much. Eventually, Dan White, or not that far later actually, Dan White resigned his seat from the Board of Supervisors, until he realized that Moscone would then be in charge of replacing him. He then decided to beg for his seat back. Moscone refused to appoint him. Many sources from the time report that he was at first willing to reappoint Dan White to the board, but more liberal supervisors like Harvey Milk convinced him not to. So, on November 27, 1978, Dan White went to San Francisco City Hall to plead for his job back. He had his police revolver with him. When George Moscone agreed to meet with him privately, he shot and killed him. He then walked across City Hall and he shot and killed Harvey Milk. He turned himself in almost immediately. He went to the same precinct where he used to work when he was a San Francisco cop. Dianne Feinstein, who was president of the Board of Supervisors, was sworn in as mayor, and she became the first female mayor of San Francisco at that point. Dan White was convicted of manslaughter, mainly due to the Twinkie defense, where his lawyer basically said he was depressed because he ate too many Twinkies. So he served 5 years out of 7, was released early, and then he committed suicide in 1985. Both Moscone and Harvey Milk were killed that day, and the loss of them both is something that San Francisco still suffers from. Every year there are commemorations to celebrate the lives of both men, and we can thank Moscone even today for several of the things that we take for granted that happened during his time in the California politics. One thing I forgot to mention is that he and Willie Brown were early supporters of gay rights, and they managed to repeal California's sodomy law. So there are many things happening even today that we can be grateful to Mayor Moscone for. So, rest in peace.